Hello, everybody. How are you doing? It is Saturday morning. I'm out in the shop for a few hours today, doing a little bit of testing. I was having some trouble. You might have noticed my videos. They seem like they were skipping a little bit, like running at maybe 30 frames per second when they should have been 60 or something like that. I don't know all about that. People have been trying to explain it to me, and it's not something I know a lot about, or really I honestly want to know a lot about. But I have been trying to do some experimenting to figure it out, and I reformatted the camera, and nothing changed. I still had the same issue. So I got to looking at the videos in native form. So copy them from the camera to the computer and then just view them in that Microsoft Windows, whatever the little viewer is that comes with Windows. I can't think of what it's called right now. And just viewing them, and they work perfectly. They look great. Then I import them into my editing software where I start to build the movie. That's where I'm noticing the drag. So I got to looking all through, and I'm using an old copy of Microsoft Movie Maker, which I think in 2000, the 2007 version of Windows is when that was retired. Maybe even before that. I don't remember. It's been retired for a long time. So I'm using a really old editor. So I think I'm going to have to get a new editor. Because it doesn't appear to be the camera. And the camera's got a fresh format, so it should be, sound and video should be good on the camera. It's just something to do with the editor. So bear with me a little bit. I'm looking at one called Moavi, M-O-A-V-I, I think is how it's spelled. You know, the problem is I need one that's simple because I don't want to learn a lot of complicated stuff. I just want to plug the files in there and clean them up. You know, so bear with me a little bit while I look around, but I've heard a lot of people talking about, or heard a lot of people, I've asked a lot of people that I'm friends with what they use, and Moavi seems to be toward the top of the list, and it's supposed to be pretty simple. I think it was originally built for Mac maybe, but they have a Windows version, which is good because I don't have a Mac. So I'm going to play around a little bit with video today, and hopefully that's why the video that just came out this morning took so long to get to you, because I formatted the camera, and the format that the camera went to for default, a standard format, I couldn't get the files copied to the computer. So I let it sit for a couple days, did a little research, figured out what the problem was, flipped it. I ended up taking those files up to Google, not Dropbox, Google, the Google version of Dropbox, Google Docs. I took it up to that and then dropped it down to the computer and was able to edit the files. And then I cleaned it off. And this morning before I did this, I did a test to prove that I have this camera set in the proper format. So yeah, so we're going through some growing pains here. Also, I have not been in the shop a lot this past week. There have been some opportunities to get into the shop, but with the intense heat we've had and the pandemic situation where we're sort of not able to get out and go to movies and go to you know, the restaurants and just really enjoy life, you kind of get just a little bit, you know, just kind of get blah. You get in the habit of not doing anything, and you just, nothing really interests you. So I'm out here today, and I'm going to try to fire myself up and get myself interested in working on some things. The SKU video was a lot of fun. I may work on a SKU today, but I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. It's, you know, I come out here and it's hard enough just to come out into the shop, but once I make it out into the shop, then it's an issue of, well, what do I want to work on? So hopefully I can dig around, find something that impresses me and work on it. I do have a couple of things I want to show you guys. First off, I went to the post office on Thursday, and there was a package in my P.O. box from Rockler. Now, I have not ordered anything from Rockler since I ordered the fittings for my dust collection system. So that means one of you guys purchased a gift for me, and I want to say thank you. This is amazing. This is a Zona saw. It is 32 teeth per inch. This is a flush cut saw. These things are amazing. I don't have a Zona. I have a cheap brand, a cheap version of this. Well, it's Craftsman. I got it a long time ago, and the blade actually has a little bit of a bend in it where I got it caught one time and kind of, you know, pushed and kind of bent it. And I've been wanting a new one. I just haven't bought one. And this is a Zona, which is a very nice brand. It's made in the U.S. Thank you. I don't know who sent this to me because the Rockler packaging had nothing on it. It just said from Rockler. That's it. So if you sent this to me, please let me know. I want to say thank you. Also, Robert Dudinsky over at Crosscut Creations, my buddy. I've talked about him many times before. You guys helped me a while back get Robert over the 1,000 subscriber limit. He was like 180 away or something. Truly appreciate that. And what Robert's working on now is you not only have to have 1,000 subscribers, but you have to have so many hours viewed in the last 12 months. So he's been doing a lot of live videos and trying to get his viewing numbers up so that he can monetize. He still can't monetize. Well, excuse me. Ooh, strangled myself. Sorry. Well, I did some Chaos Blanks a while back, and I had a Chaos Blank sale, and as part of the sale, I had a bunch of cutoffs that I was going to put back together, but I thought, you know what, I'm just not going to mess with this. There's so many other things going on, so I'm going to sell these boxes of blanks. And I had two mailers, really about $8.10 for a standard, first-class box, and I sold them to Robert and to, oh shoot, and the name just slipped my mind, another gentleman. It'll come to me in a minute. But the other night, Robert did a live video where he cast my Chaos Blanks. And I bought one of the blanks from him. This is the blank I bought. Now, this is the casting. Take a look how cool that looks. But look at this. Isn't that sweet as you flip it around? Those are my Chaos Blanks. So I bought this back from him. And this, I'm going to turn this in a video. Not today because the last two times I was in the shop, I destroyed my blanks. And I want to make sure I'm in the mood to turn, but this is sweet. So Robert cast this in his live. He's going to turn one in another live, but he's also selling them. Or I take that back. I don't know if he's selling those. Scratch that. I don't know that I shouldn't say selling them. He made them, and he made 5 or 6 of them in one batch. It's a nice tray. He puts them in, and then he cuts them. So I bought that one from him. I think someone else may have bought one. And I know he's going to turn one in a live video. So if you have time, go check Robert out. He's trying really hard to monetize. I've got my laptop out here where I've been testing. And what else we got going on? I've got all of these blanks over here that need to be turned, these 4. But I don't think I'm going to start off turning. I want to do a little more practice with the skew before I do any turning, because the last 2 times I've been in the shop, I have destroyed blanks. And I've had to fix them. And I don't want to fix those. I want to turn them start to finish and make them nice. So, okay, that's my long opening monologue. Now it's time to hang up and see what I can get done. So I'll be back in touch and let you guys know what happens in the shop today. I just used some brass gauges here and cut myself 4 different size strips of wood that I can use for segmenting. These are always handy to have. I can use them for all types of segmenting, whether it's pins or if I want to do something larger. That was just something quick that I wanted to do. I wanted to make a couple of strips because as I get ideas, I just wanted to kind of have the burn wood around. We're going to call that burn wood because it is not a very fancy piece of wood. I think it's called Maranta. It came out of a pallet. But when I experiment, I like to have different size strips of wood because, you'll say, well, that 1/8 inch just doesn't look right. Maybe 3/16 would be better. So I made a couple of strips so I can play with. Perhaps later today we'll play with that. I'm going to move on right now and see what other things I want to work on in the shop today. I've been working more with my skew. Today it's more of this round skew. I got it sharpened up, and what I found, I was coming in kind of like this, which, you see the angle? It's 45 degrees to the tool rest, basically, but it wasn't cutting real well. I found if I straightened it up like this just a little bit, and then I could lay my bevel on there and then close up my cut, I could take it right down through there and make a nice smooth cut. So I think it's going to be muscle memory. It's going to be a lot of practice. I'm going to make a few more passes and just keep working with it. You can see I've got my line on there and I'm staying below that line. Since I started doing that, knock on wood, I have not had a single catch, and I've been turning on that block for quite a bit. So I'm really happy with that tip, and I'm going to use that line until I get comfortable with the skew. But man, I couldn't be happier with that cut. It's just as smooth. All right, time for some more playing. Well, I just finished. I had 4 pins that I attempted to turn today. Of those 4, 3 of them didn't turn out. Let me flip you around and show them to you. The first blank is my Charlie Brown blank, and I drilled it off center, so I'm not happy with that. And I'm also not happy with the glue joints. I don't know if I didn't get enough pressure in there, or if when I glued those blanks together, maybe I should have squared the sides of the blank to get a better fit. We will change up in the future on how we do that. Then I grabbed one of my Charlie Brown blanks with the Padauk at the end,
and I was turning along. It was looking pretty good. This one I centered up a little better. Still not happy with the glue joints. I mean, it's cut from the same cloth. When I tore the Padauk, the grain is running left to right versus up and down like it is the rest of the wood. So I caught and tore a piece off, and when I did, it tore a little chunk out. Otherwise, I would have glued another piece of Padauk on there and finished it. But I'm also, it's cut from the same cloth, so it has the issue with the glue joints. We're going to work on that. Here's the checkerboard blank I was working on. This was turning out awesome. I got it turned down to the bushings. I turned the lathe off, and when I did, I'll be darned, I hadn't drilled down the center. That really stinks. Although this looks cool, I may go ahead and just make a checkerboard and leave this off. But yeah, I must not have drilled down the center on that one. Super disappointed because it was perfect right to the blank. Right to the bushings. And it's just so smooth. I've been using the skew, and I turned all 4 of these with the skew. And then I turned one of my fading blanks where it fades from the large to the thin, or the thick to the thin, and then opposite direction with the contrasting woods. And that turned out phenomenal. Isn't that gorgeous? That is absolutely beautiful. Love it. Love it. This would look so cool with like Purple Heart and Yellow Heart. That just keeps coming to mind because those colors, they pop when they're beside each other. Or even Purple Heart and maybe an Osage Orange. But wow, I love that pen. Happy how it turned out.
Hey, I'm still out here working. I just got done drilling out a couple of blanks. Let me show them to you and see what you think.
This is one of the Taylor Murfield. It is a fountain pen kit. And my good buddy Hugh Davies sent that to me. This is the blank that was chosen. We did a little vote over on Patreon of about 14 or 15 blanks, and that's the one that was chosen for that kit. We had a tie on this one, so it actually was a 4-way tie between this blank and these 3. So I've got another vote going right now for the Taylor Murfield rollerball, but we'll get to that shortly. You're going to see the turning of that and that on my normal channel. This is my Chaos Pieces blank that Robert Dudinsky made, where he cast the cutoffs for my Chaos blanks, and I just got those drilled out. They're ready to be tubed, and we're going to use a Junior Joshua rollerball. This is antique silver from the classic nib. So I'm getting ready to do some glue ups on those 2 kits. I also found this. Now this is a pen I did a long time ago, and I don't know why it's in pieces like this. I don't know if it came apart. I don't know what happened. Look at that, it's been leaking like crazy. But I want to get this out of here. I want to clean this up, and I want to look at maybe returning this kit with another blank. So that's something, depending on how far I take that, you may see that pretty soon on the channel as well. Got the tubes drilled into all 4 of my blanks. They just need to dry. I usually leave epoxy. It's 5-minute epoxy, so it sets up in 5 minutes, but it fully cures in 24 hours. So I will turn these next time I'm out in the shop. Hopefully by then I know what blank to put with that kit, and we can go ahead and get that one cut and drilled.
I have seen that votes have started to come in, but I have not looked at who's voting for what because I've been focused on that. I'm going to see what other kind of projects I can get started in the shop today, just to kind of keep things moving and keep things interesting. I may take a look at this pen here. I'm just wondering what size tubes I need for this. I need to look them up. I don't even remember what kind of kit that was. I think I'm going to go in and try to figure out what kit this is, look it up, find out what size tubes I need, see if I've got them. And if I do, then I'm going to get this kit disassembled, fully disassembled, cleaned, and ready to be turned into something else. I've got a boatload of blanks over there I can choose from. I'll keep you guys posted on what happens.
Pretty good news so far. I got everything here out of the plastic bag, and I got the ink wiped off of everything. It wiped right off. This refill had leaked a little bit, but it looks like it leaked from the nib. It must have just gotten hot, and then you can see the bag. It's just a little bit in there. It wasn't much. It writes fine. So I'm happy with that. All the parts look good. I honestly can't tell if this is a Classic Elite or maybe the Classic. I'm not sure. There's a couple different ones they have. If it is a Classic Elite, it's the older style because all of the rings, the trim rings, are separate, and on the new one there's like a grommet that they're part of that you just press in. So I need to find out which kit this is. These tubes are trash. You know, there's no way I'm going to keep on taking a look at that. I mean, they're just a mess. So bottom line, I'm going to use them long enough to determine the diameter of tubes that I need and the length, and that's good enough. So that's what I'm going to do next, is find diameter and length tubes that I can use, and then we're going to do some Googling online and see if we can't figure out. I may actually go grab a Classic Elite and just test this and see if these parts fit. Hey, great news, guys. I literally found the exact kit that this one is. And you can see on the little plastic grommet there, it already has the chrome rings assembled, so I just have to reassemble those. It even comes with a set of instructions. And if I look at this, looks like I need a 10 millimeter drill bit. And I think that's it. Looks like both barrels are 10 millimeter. I think I have some long 10 millimeter tubes, so I should be able to cut them down, and I probably will use these tubes for measurements just in case something happened way back when and I shortened these. So those are going to the burn pile, and we are going to grab some 10 millimeter tubes and cut some custom tubes for this pin kit. We are in business. I found a nice little baggie to put all the parts in so I don't lose them, and I found two. These are bolt action, 10 millimeter bolt action tubes, some spares that I had bought. It is the exact length of the longer tube, and this one will have to be cut down, but we have two 10 millimeter tubes, so this pin is going to become a reality. Let's go find a blank and see what we can do. We're in business. I was over digging around for a blank, and I just didn't find anything I liked, and I walked back over to my table, and I had this blank here that I was using earlier to take photos with this blank to kind of show we went from here to this. So this is a cool looking blank. It's going to make an awesome pin. So time for me to set the camera up and tell the story, do the recording, and make this pin. Well, I just had my bubble burst. I went ahead and grabbed the long tube out of this kit, and I held it up against one of these 10 millimeter bolts, and look at that. We are 3/8 of an inch longer. So that means whenever I made this, I must have messed this tube up and shortened it. You know, I don't know exactly what happened there, but that is way off, and that's probably why. That probably means this kit was never assembled. I probably screwed that tube up. I went all through my box of tubes, as well as over here in my drawer here. I've got tons and tons of long tubes that I keep for making pins. I just don't have any 10 millimeter. So what we're going to have to do is I'm going to have to go online and place an order for a 10 millimeter tube, a long tube. You know, that you buy those, I think those are 10 inches long, maybe 12, I don't remember. I'm going to buy a package of those tubes, and once I get them, then I can come back and I can tell the story and make this pin, and I think it'd be fun to do because it is kind of a cool story, and basically taking all the parts and redoing it from scratch like that. You know, it's kind of like when you take an old car and you tear it apart and put it back together, except this one wasn't all the way torn apart, right? So I'm psyched about it. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to make myself a note. I'm going to order myself a 10 millimeter tube, and then we are going to correct this pin, and you guys will see that on the other channel when it happens. I took great pains to drill these down the center and square them up. That won't be any big deal there. We can replace that Paduke, no problem. Hopefully I'm close enough down the center of the blank where these things turn out really nice. Gonna let them dry. They won't get turned until a later trip to the shop because they need about 24 hours for that epoxy to cure. I grabbed this blank. This is one that Daryl Dice sent me a while back. And the reason why I grabbed this is I've been making thin strips on my table saw, and you can make them out of any color wood you want. This is just an old piece of wood I've been practicing with, and they're all different thicknesses, and this is the kind of thing I should be able to make with them. See, so I'm going to fiddle around maybe some more with this today. I'll have to clean my saw off, and then we can cut some thin curved material, and that should be fun. We could be able to make some of these. Like I said, this is just a piece of scrap wood that I had. I'll dig out some prettier wood and make some nice thin strips, and see if we can't come up with something else that looks kind of cool, maybe similar to that. One of my patrons, Bob Hayden, mentioned this drain on one of our Patreon hangouts, and basically he said, you know, you put this drain in, we saw all the work with the gutters and everything, but you've never shown us the drain in action, and he wanted to see the drain in action during a rainstorm. So Bob, here you go. This is what the drain does. It's bringing all of the water from that gutter between my neighbor's house and my house, and then in the ditch it's catching water. There are two drains in the ditch, and it's bringing it all down to that 6-inch pipe and pouring it right into the drain. I just turned another blank with my skew. This was one of my misfit blanks where I put large, large, medium, medium, so on and so on, instead of reversing the order from large to small in opposite directions. I went ahead and turned it. I mean, look how tight that thing is at the bushings. It's perfect. And no tool marks. That is really, I've done nothing except run the skew over it. No sandpaper, no nothing, just the skew. I trued it with the skew from a square blank to round and then turned it down. I'm happy with that. Now that one's not going to become a pin. I'm not impressed with that blank. You know, basically I tubed it up when I tubed a bunch of the other ones, and it was laying on the table and I needed something to do, and I want to get as much practice with my skew as I can. And I am really, really happy with how things have been working out. Just the couple of simple things. Number one, I watched Glenn Lucas. He has a couple of videos on the skew. The first one I watched was sharpening your skew. And I sharpened both my 1-inch square skew and my 1-inch, that's kind of a curved on either side, convex kind of on the sides. And I sharpened them both the same way. Sharpen them with the 200 grit wheel, get the right angle on them, which is right around 40 degrees. I think it's a little steeper angle, maybe 35 or so on the convex one. Then I took them to a couple of cards, a couple of, they're cards. You use filing cards, right? I can't think of what they're called. I'll just show you what they are. I cannot remember the name of them. But a couple of these, right? And you can see there where I put the water on them. I just put a couple drops of water, and then I just worked the tool to move the burr left and right, until I had an even burr all the way down the tool. Then I took it over here to the drill press, and I've got this little tool, and I bought this years ago. I forget where I even bought it. It is a leather strop. You put it in your drill press. You got a little bit of this white compound you put on there, and then you polish one side, flip it over, polish the other. It sort of removes that burr, and you can lay that thing on your arm and it will literally take the hair off. You can shave with it. That's how sharp the skew is. That's number one. That video was phenomenal. Check out Glenn Lucas and look for Glenn Lucas skew. A skew video, something along those lines, and you'll find them. They were easy to find. I found them first try. The second video I watched from his was how to use the skew, and that's where I learned he drew a line right in the middle of his skew so he would always stay below that line. I don't need the line anymore. I've got that in my brain, my muscle memory, and I'm staying below the line, and I'm keeping it about a 45-degree angle with the skew, which that works good for me. He didn't say anything about that, but that seems to work good for me. And I gotta say, knock on wood, I've had some pretty good luck with the skew. The pins I turned have turned great. It's just the pins I turned, the blanks, either were not drilled down the center, or there was another problem with them, like not good glue joints or something. So that was all on me, not on the skew. I am super happy with how that thing turned. I mean, I could not ask for a better finish on a pin blank. So really happy. Going to keep practicing. Like I said, you're not going to see as much of the roughing gouge. I may use it on a larger turning to true it up, but pins and stuff, I'm going straight to the skew. For me, it's going to be a better tool, more versatile, and I hope to learn more about how to use it, like how to use the toe to do some coves and how to round them over into beads. There's all kinds of stuff you can learn, and he's got videos on all that. So don't try to learn that from me. Go learn it from a guy who really knows what he's talking about, Glenn Lucas. Okay, wow, this is going to be a long video today. There's been a lot going on in the shop, but it's still early, so I think it's like 2 o'clock, 2:30. So I'm going to see what else I can get into today. And I found it. Take a look at this. This is a shelf that has a ton of blanks on it that I started a long time ago. Most of them have kits associated with them. They're marked. I just never turned them. So since I want to practice with the skew and I don't really have anything else right now that I can think about that I want to focus on, I think I'm going to start turning some of these blanks. We're just going to randomly pick one. Let's start with a simple one here. What do we got? This is, I think this one was tubed for, I think I picked it up. This is tubed for a mechanical pencil kit. This is one of those Darrell Dice blanks. I tubed it a long time ago to make a mechanical pencil without the center band, and I don't have the kit with it because I used it, but I have 3 or 4 kits right here. So we're going to go ahead and turn this. If it turns out, we'll grab a kit and we'll put it together. Looks like I got way off, but with that 7mm bit, that thing flexes, and it probably flexed as it went down through the blank. So let's see what it looks like when it's turned. I just turned this really awesome seam ripper. If you pull this out, you can flip it around. That's a pick. So after you do your stitches, let me get a hold of that with my other hand. After you rip your stitches, you can pull them out of the blank. And then this end you pull out, flip around. It's hard to do with one hand. There we go. Whoops. Sorry about that. Slide it into the blank, and there's your seam ripper for ripping your stitches. It's a beautiful blank. I got that blank from Andrew Amtower at the Mid-Ohio Valley Pin Turners Gathering. The very first one, I guess 2018 maybe? It's been several years now, 2017 I think. It's a beautiful blank. Love how that turned out. Well guys, this was a long video. I was in the shop for a long time today. Had a great day. Let me get this out of the clamp. This is that, I was working on this blank today. It's going to be a modified mechanical pencil, and there'll be a video on that one. I started it, I need to finish it up. I got a lot of stuff done today. I got a lot of blanks prepared for the next time I'm in the shop. So it's been a great day, but as you can see, I am sweating like crazy. It's humid out, okay? It's not super hot, it's just humid. And I think I've had enough. It's about 4:15. We have a 6 o'clock or 6:30, I don't remember, performance of the marching band that we need to go to tonight. So I need to get in the house, clean up, eat some dinner. So I'm going to give myself plenty of time for that so I can kind of cool off a little bit too, you know. This is a long video. I apologize for that, but I wanted to keep you guys posted of what was happening, and a lot went on today. So have a great evening. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.